Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Marsha Kerr, Talley, and I am your emotional wellness coach. And I'm here to remind you that there is life beyond the distress, beyond the pain, beyond the trauma, and you can live a life full of happiness, peace, and abundance. So today I want to talk to the fellas specifically. Fellas specifically who are just coming out of a relationship. So if you've been out of a relationship for a year, less than a year, a few weeks, a few months, I want you to consider this. What type of man do you want to be now? Like when you're going into the single market, what kind of person do you want to be? Do you want to be one of those people they call a boy, or do you want to be a man of integrity, still finding his way, still being whole, still treating himself with honor, and still learning how to respect women along the way? Because what I find is men and women, because I've realized that I'm not just speaking to men or women when I do a podcast, when I do a live stream, when I write a book. I am talking to adults who've lived some things and have gone through some things in life. And I'm talking to people who really want to change their ways. They want to see a different outcome. They've tried it one way for a long time and they're looking for a different perspective. They're looking for someone else with a different type of lens. And one of the things I've recognized is that when people come out of a relationship, they often just go out there and they just do whatever, not realizing that they could cause themselves and other people trauma. Like you go out there with the intention of living your best life, but what ends up happening is that you become so emotionally unattached, unavailable, or so careless or reckless that you don't recognize the things that you're doing is actually creating harm for you and for other people. Emotional traumas are not always obvious. Let me say that. They're not always obvious. They're not like physical trauma where you can see the damage to the body, to the cells, to the tissues. That you can see it. But it's under the skin. And because it's under the skin, a lot of us kind of mask it well. We mask it well with laughter or with our escapades or with our, different kind of personalities. We do a lot of different things to mask what's really going on the inside. And some of us truly don't know what's going on the inside. We cannot specifically identify what it is. We can't pinpoint it. What is causing us to behave the way that we behave or feel the way that we feel? And this is why I'm speaking specifically to people, men specifically, who are coming out of relationships, whether it's a marriage or long-term relationships specifically, because when you've been in a marriage, you've become accustomed to serving someone else. Well, some of you, because some of you were still living single while you were married. But for some of you, you are accustomed to having that environment where you had to show up for someone else, for your wife or for your children. And you had to be that provider. You had to consider other people at all times. And then once you come out of that relationship, now you are like, I am single. I can do my own thing. I can make my own decisions. I'm out here in the world and I'm free again. But you have to understand that freedom comes with a cost. Like freedom isn't free. You have to pay for freedom. And that's important to understand in the sense that when you go out here, you have to make certain decisions. And I want to warn you, I want to caution you that the grass isn't always green on the other side, for one. And what I mean by that, not necessarily that you need to return to your previous relationship, because for real, some of you need to walk away from that relationship. Whether it's a marriage or whether you were just in a long-term relationship with your girlfriend or your boyfriend, whatever it was, some of you need to walk away. That's the truth. Some of you have outgrown that relationship, and what tends to happen whenever we outgrow a situation, whenever we go past the expiration date, that is when that thing becomes toxic. Just think about food. Whenever it's past its expiration date, not necessarily what's on the label, but when it's gone bad and you still want to consume it, that's when things can go really bad. And that's the same thing. I use that analogy to compare it to some of your relationships. So yes, some of your relationships you do need to walk away from. But when I say the grass isn't greener on the other side, I'm saying don't go out here looking for somebody else to replace the happiness that you either had or either was looking for in your relationship. Because what you will find is you may create havoc along the way, just leaving a bunch of bodies, harmed bodies, distressed bodies, people who are yearning for you, but you cannot be there for them. And you're leaving those people in your way, just a bunch of carnage in your way, as you are out here trying to seek and find yourself. The green pasture is within you. Let me say that again. The green pasture is within you, like happiness is within you. So you can change the conditions of any environment based on what's going on within you. And yes, of course, there are times where you have to physically change environments so it can facilitate the growth that needs to happen within you, the maturity that needs to happen within you, the insight and introspection that needs to happen within you. Sometimes you have to leave your familiarity, what you know, and go into somewhere else. Sometimes you have to do that, and that is true. But I'm definitely talking to those of you who are now on this precipice. You're now at this place where you have to decide for yourself, who am I and who do I want to be? Some of these F-boys out here, I don't think they started out with the intention of, I'm going to go out here and F up a whole bunch of women's life. I'm going to just go out here and just create as much havoc with as many people as I possibly can. I don't think that was their intention originally. I think they really just went out self-serving. They wanted to please themselves. They wanted finally to feel like they're in control of their life and they can do what they want to do. And I understand that. But that comes with responsibility. And especially when you get to a certain age and when you now become the example for a different generation, you have to make certain choices. You have to make certain decisions. So yes, go out, have fun, do what you do, but do so with the understanding that you are becoming something with every decision and choice that you make. And you have to be mindful of who you're becoming in the process. And also that your actions are impacting other people. So it's a decision you have to make. But that decision comes from an introspection. A level of self-awareness that many people don't always go out back into the world, the single world with. They don't usually go out knowing they're finding themselves again. They're discovering themselves again. So some of the things about themselves, they don't know. And I understand that part. I understand that. I remember when I was going through my divorce and when after it was, listen, I was out here. But because I did that, I now understand. And now, you don't have to learn everything the hard way. Sometimes you can learn from other people. And sometimes we are so adamant that we are going to be different, that our situation is going to be different. But I'm telling you, we have shared experience as humanity across the globe. We all have similarities in our stories, even if they're uniqueness. Even if they're unique, there are similarities. And something I'm going to tell you, as you are at this place and you're deciding who I want to be, please bear in mind that every decision you make is creating the person you want to become. So do you want to be a F-boy? Or do you want to be a man of honor? Do you want to be a man that a woman wants to be a husband? You may not be ready for that. You may not be willing and ready to jump into another relationship and definitely not another marriage again. That may be true. But you have to understand that you are now an example for another generation that's observing you, especially if you have children. But also, you are now either honoring your past self and everything that your past self has done, or setting yourself up for who you will become in the future. Everything you do. And now let me talk to everyone else, because that was specifically to men who have recently become single, and you're discovering yourself and you're finding out who you are, what you're about, what you like. You're finding out those things about you, and that's okay. So the message to you is just be mindful that every decision you make is creating who you want. It's contributing to the things you say you desire. And you do not want to be a person, or at least you should be considering, do you want to be a person that is creating havoc in your way and leaving a bunch of carnage as you go? Or do you want to be a person of honor? And so now I talk to everyone and say the same thing applies to you. The same thing applies to me. Today is what we have. Like I said to my daughter today, today is all we have. Tomorrow does not exist. Today is all we have. And what I mean by that is everything you do now is tomorrow. Your actions today is the results that will be in your tomorrow. Let me say that again. Today's action is tomorrow's result. So everything you do now is creating tomorrow. So essentially, tomorrow is today. So you have to be mindful of every decision you are making now, every choice you make. And I know for some of us, that's a lot. It's like, you're asking too much of me, man. This adulting thing is a lot. And yes, honey, it is a lot. It's a lot of working through yourself, working on yourself, working with yourself, and then learning how to work with other people. It's learning the different parts of yourself and aligning them together instead of creating resistance and beefing with each other and having internal conflicts, where you and every other part of you can become one and operate in oneness. So that when you show up in the world around you, that you can also engage with people in sync. The word, I lost the word. But so you're in sync, you're in unison, you're cooperative, you're doing things together. A lot of times we're having all these issues with other people is because we ourselves are having internal conflicts with ourselves. So today, the reminder is, as I head off from here, is to just remind you that your actions today, your decisions today, your choices that you make today is creating your tomorrow. So when you say YOLO, yeah, you are living once. You're living your best life today because it's what's creating your tomorrow. So don't wait on the happiness. Be happy today. Tomorrow doesn't exist. Do you hear me? Tomorrow does not exist. Today is what you have. The present is what you have. The now is what you have. And what you do now, here and now, is what's going to create everything that you want for your life. Everything is a compound effect. I watched a video of myself that I created 4 years ago yesterday. And when I watched the video, I was talking about the emotional traumas I experienced when my cousin was murdered and when I had my miscarriage and I saw my son in the toilet and that whole situation with the person I was dealing with at the time. And I was talking about that. And at the time, it was only a year from when all those things happened. And as I was talking, it was obviously still very fresh. But even then, there was growth. I could see that there was progress. And there was a lot of work I had to put in. And I talked about journaling, meditation, working out, getting up, going back to work, and how all those things helped me to heal and distracted me from some of the pain. Because there's a part of the process of healing where you have to distract yourself from the pain so you can get on with it. Because if you're so indulgent in what has happened to you, you will stay there. And so going back to work was my distraction. And I talked about that. But as I watched that self, that Marsha, that younger version of me, I cried, but also I applauded her Because the things that younger Marsha did put me in the position that I'm in today. When I wrote Healing from Emotional Traumas, it was coming out of that place. That was my place of therapy. When I wrote that book, I did not foresee what I'm creating today. I'm creating a course and a program that is going to assist not only women and men, but also children and teachers so that they can develop their emotional wellness and their emotional intelligence so they can combat different things that show up in their lives, in the classroom, in the workplace. I didn't foresee that happening. I didn't foresee moving to Texas because my ex-husband passed away and now I'm a single mother. Like, for real. I didn't foresee that. I didn't foresee how all of those things contributed to the Marsha I am today with the skills, the experience, and the expertise that I have that can help other people to be the best versions of themselves while I'm creating the reality that I want for myself and for my child. I didn't foresee any of it. So the point I'm making with that is everything you do in the moment is going to create a compound effect for the tomorrow you say is going to show up, but you don't know that it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. I want you to rationalize what I'm saying right now. Tomorrow does not exist. You only have now. Today's action is tomorrow's results. So unless you do the thing today, it's not showing up tomorrow. So who you want to become has to be, the actions need to be put in place today. If you say you want this, then you have to do this thing today. If you say you want that, then you have to do something to take you in the direction of that today. That's how it works. That's the compound effect. Today I watched a video of myself from 8 years ago. I was in my classroom and I was talking about how I felt like I graduated from a place that I don't even know. I could not rationalize or make logical or pinpoint what exactly I graduated from. But you know what I'm talking about. When you've been in this cycle for so long and you keep repeating certain behaviors, or you feel stuck, like you're in a rut and you don't really know how to get out or what to do to get out. And then there's a point in your life, because you've been doing the things of today and you've been doing them for so long and the compound effect happen and you've been putting in practices in place, at some point it has to happen where you graduate and you level up from that place. And you break free from that cycle. You put in the work and you paid for it. And now you're out. And I couldn't tell you necessarily, like specifically, what it is. But that day, I felt like I had leveled up. I felt like I had graduated. I didn't even remember either of these videos that I just mentioned. I didn't. But Facebook have this feature where it brings back your memories, like in your Facebook memories, which is a great feature, by the way. Facebook, keep that up, because I didn't remember. But looking back at that, it confirmed that what you do today is going to contribute to the tomorrow that does not exist yet, but you're creating it with every block. And every block is a decision. You are building, you're physically building tomorrow. And I'm saying physical because I want you to imagine this. I want you to visualize what I'm saying. Imagine these building blocks. Lego, if you will. These Lego blocks. But you're using these building blocks, and these building blocks of the present create the tomorrow you're looking for. Each piece, each action, each decision, they are creating who you want to be and what you say you want. The world you want to live in, your reality, the job you want to live in, the partner you want to have. Every piece is contributing to your tomorrow that you are actively creating through those decisions, through those choices, through those actions, through those habits, thoughts, and behaviors, including what comes out of your mouth. Because sometimes what you say and what you do could annihilate and destroy every building block that you've already put up. You, You doing it. You self-sabotaging. You say you want these things and you put the work in, you put the effort in, and you're building, and then here comes your mouth, here comes your thoughts, here comes your actions. You haven't replaced certain habits, and those have become destructive to the very same thing you're building. So be very mindful. Be very mindful. Be very mindful. So as you go out here and you are living your best life, because you should, you want to live while you're alive. As you're doing that, be mindful that you have a responsibility to make choices that will create the future you want for your life. And also bear in mind that your actions impact other people. Your attitudes and inactions influence, impact, and affect other people. So with that, I'm Marsha Kerr Talley. I'm going to head off right now. But before I do, I want to direct you to a couple of things. One, head over to my website, marshakertalley.com. There you'll find 2 tabs, and I want you to use both of them. One of them is to schedule a discovery call with me. So if you are right now at a place where you're trying to figure out yourself, you don't quite know where you are, even though I'm talking with as much passion as I am, please know there's no judgment here. Because I've lived, and I've lived a colorful life. But I want you to know that you can avoid the trauma. Even though you live the color, and you live in color, you don't have to experience the trauma. And that can happen through certain decisions you make and habits you start instilling, and thoughts and speech and choices you make. Right? So if you need assistance with that, or you just need someone to help you clear the fog and discover some of your blind spots and help you just figure some things out, because sometimes you just need someone else to talk to, schedule a call with me and we will talk. Then there is also a 6 weeks course that I'm now in the beta version mode of. And basically the course is part of the program. So this 6 weeks program, it's a group coaching program. Where every week I'm working with 5 people. So it's a 6 weeks program, and each 6 weeks I'm only working with 5 people. Each week within that 6 weeks, I'm working with those 5 people as a group. And also there will be a one-to-one opportunity for them to work with me individually. In addition to that, there is a course that you can work on at your own pace. And there'll be different activities, weekly activities that you will work on to help you to identify some of your pain points, release some of those traumas that's within you, and also to replace the habits that you created during survival mode. So that now you can start to live a life where you're alive, where you're not just getting by, but you're actually living. Right? So there are those 2 things. You can also check out my other tabs. I have the podcast on there, my blogs on there. There's a shop on there where you can check out my different books, including Healing from Emotional Traumas. There's The Decision is Just the Beginning, which I'm going to start promoting more because that's a powerful book by itself. And then A Guide to Dealing with a Narcissist. So you can check all of those things out. Also, I host a live stream every Tuesday at noon Greenwich Mean Time, or now British Standard Time. So at 12 noon, I host a live stream. So I go live with different guests on Candid Conversations with Marsha. And that segment this week, I'm going to be talk a little bit about the guys. Some of the things, I'm going to go into some candid dating and different things. We're going to get a little personal in these ones, in the upcoming segments. And so you don't want to miss those. So the next one that is coming up on Tuesday, we're going to talk about, do men really prefer sex without emotions, without attachment? Do they prefer that? So we're going to be talking about that, and I will have men on the podcast, on the live stream, and some other guests that we will be discussing these matters. So I'm looking forward to that because I like to talk about these subjects. I've just been holding out on you guys for a while. But if you know, you know. Anyway, so I'm going to head off here, and I just want to remind you as I leave, you are worthy. And by that, I mean you are worthy to live a life that is full without trauma, that is colorful without trauma, that is passionate and vibrant and all of the glow of that life should be without trauma. Like, I know that trauma causes us to live a duller life. It kind of dims our light. But you are not defined by those events that happen to you. You're not defined by the events that you created either. You have to get to the point where you forgive, and that includes yourself. And we talked about forgiveness on one of the podcasts, and there is a blog that addresses this, because there is a misconception that when you forgive others, that means you have to reconcile with them. You do not. The forgiveness is releasing you from the attachment to this event and to these people that are keeping you chained and keeping your light dimmed. You want to shine brightly because this is the one life that you have. You live every day, and every day that you have is a new opportunity to break away from the chains that are holding you hostage. It's an opportunity for you to live fully the way you're intended to live, with purpose, with drive, with ambition, with love. And let's not get away from the love and the passion, because too many of us are living like zombies. We're just traveling through life, existing, not wanting to feel a thing. But your feelings what make you human. That is what is the distinction between you and an android or any other thing that they're creating that's artificial. You want to feel, and you want to feel deeply. That's what makes you human. So we want to get to that place again where we can trust our feelings, where we love on our emotions, where we love again, where we feel again. Those things are beautiful. That's what makes us human. And we want that. But we enjoy that better when we're healed, because healing gives you a better quality of life. It gives you a new lease on life. That's what healing does for you. So I'm leaving you. I've been saying that for a million years. But this is Marsha Kerr. Talley. I am your emotional wellness coach, and I'm here to remind you that your life is worth living while you're alive. Talk to you soon. Bye.